And we are off and running. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Shaney Entertaining. Well, I got to see if I am here before I do anything. Okay, it looks like I'm up and running. There you go. Shut your dang mouth. No one wants to hear you talking, Shane. What did you think people tune into your live streams to hear you talk? Imagine someone comes on the live stream and starts telling you, shut your mouth. No one comes on your live streams to hear you talking. They just want to see your pretty toys. That's all it is. Today I'm Scottish. I don't know why. I just started off that way. This thing with me, sometimes with my voices, I pick a voice in the beginning of the day. I start talking out of for some reason, and it sticks the rest of the day. And so today I might be doing some stupid Scottish stuff. Why? I don't know. It's just how I'm made. But probably not. All right, guys. So today, everyone. Today, I know I said that last live stream, I said I was going to do one until Thursday and Friday, but I learned some stuff and I heard some stuff that was kind of interesting, and I really wanted to talk about it and see what you guys thought about the situation. And it's pertaining to none other than our favorite topic, and that is Star Wars. So how this all came to be, well, before I start getting into it, let's just see if anybody's going to come and join me on this Chatamaran, on the Chatteroonie. So far, I got someone there. Who was there listening to me? See, there, I told you I was going to do it. Suddenly, boom, I did it. Yeah. Okay. So before I do that, I'm gonna say that last time before I started, I was talking a lot about Hollywood and the lack thereof good content being made. That they don't make anything new anymore, and everything is rehashed and redone, and it's already out of hand. And then when they do redo something, like they're now almost trolling you, because we heard the news that 007 is going to be played. I forgot the actress's name. I really don't care, to be honest. I'm not a 007 too big of a James Bond fan, to be honest. And I just thought, who cares? Like, why? It almost seems like now they're doing it just to troll. Because it's almost like, what's the point in that? Instead of making an actual, like, they could have done anything, which is kind of funny. Well, you could have done a 007. Made it 008, 001, and just started a whole spin-off of a different spy series, which is tied to the original. And there's no reason for why they can't do that. In fact, that's probably preferential, because you have one 007, and that's James Bond. That's who that is. Who's she going to be? Jane Bond? I mean, or are they going to just completely a different tag for? But why do we need 007? Aren't there other agents that do other things? And we could start a whole different movie franchise based around that, and based around a whole different character as well. So there's really no need to actually have 007 being remade as a woman. They could just create a new spy who might even be a different type of spy, and have a different take on it altogether, and call it James Bond. Wookiee Lives Matter. How you doing? Glad you came to this one. You managed to see this one, which is good. Yeah, I'm talking about Star Wars today, but before I do that, I wanted to touch upon this 007 stuff. I don't know if you caught what I just said, but yeah, it's just funny, because I really couldn't care less about James Bond. I'm pretty much done with it at this point. There's only so many James Bonds and things you could do with it. But the thing for me is that with all this, woke stuff, woke narrative, and the funny part is, it seems so not trolly necessarily, but it does seem unoriginal, uninspiring, and definitely keep Ahsoka orange. Well, exactly. It's the thing is this, is like, why bother? They could have done anything. They could have done 007, made it 008, 006. It doesn't even make a difference. Just call it something different. Make it a spin-off series. And, like the Bourne Identity, when they did a spin-off with the Bourne, I forgot the other one. It was Bourne something. But with what's his name? Jeremy Renner. They didn't replace him with Jeremy Renner. They just added a different character along the same lines. They could have done that. But it seems like that's not their intent. Their intent is to troll, is to provoke, and is to cause problems. And because that's the only reason I could see calling it 007. Because there's no reason other than to provoke. It's just to provoke arguments, to provoke people to get angry about it, and to drive up some form of, I don't know, not business per se, but definitely to drive up interest in something. That, and either way, you're not getting the right type of interest. And the funny part of all this is that for all this wokeness, this let's have diversity stuff, 007 is and forever will be a white man. Okay, there's enough. It's historical. That's all that's ever been, and there's too much going on. You can't just arbitrarily. You're not just going to change it and change the minds. It's always going to, just like Ghostbusters are always going to be the original Ghostbusters. Star Wars is always going to be the original cast, and it doesn't matter what they decide to change. That's what it's always going to be. And so even once this fad, or whatever the hell you want to call this woke stuff is, once it passes and they get that all out of their system, because these people aren't fans of this stuff. They're not fans of Doctor Who. They're not fans of of comic books. They're not fans of Star Trek. They're not fans of these things. They just want to see change for the sake of change, because they can call themselves enlightened and woke. But they're not actually doing it for any real reason of getting diversity, but real good solid diversity or solid stories out there. They're trying to just check box, and so that they can look. It's like Conquest, a game of Conquest. They just look. I conquered this. We conquered this. We conquered this. Yay! But once the problem is once you conquer things, you got to defend it. And if you can't defend it, then it'll be reconquered. That's usually how things go. So it actually takes and expend a lot of energy just to keep it going. But the fact is that there's no real interest in any of these things by these people. Look, last matter, you say, it looks like my Wi-Fi is sketchy. I'll try to stay, but it looks like I'll be hopping in and out. Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. You stay for as long as you want. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so the whole thing for me is like, why do it at all? There's no need to do it. There is no need to do a 007 with girls. They just with a female, they just could have made a new character altogether that's still tied to the same universe as 007. So now you can even have where they can actually get together. Like how fun would it be if you actually had her doing her own thing, and then James Bond doing his own thing, and then they amalgamate at some point. They come together for a movie, and that would have been a lot cooler than what they're doing, which is replacing 007. And it's also longer lasting. Whereas at the end of this girl's term, which might even be 1-2 years, who the hell knows, depending on the popularity of the character. But we all know that the people who want this aren't fans of aren't fans of it. They're just people who want to see the change for the sake of change. So they're not going to be there for the long run. And that's evidence which you've seen in video games and comic books and everything, and all the other stuff that they've tried to do that too. It'll just go back to being Bond. And once it goes back to being the original Bond again, you've lost your diversity. It's gone now, up in smoke. Whereas if they created a new character in the same universe as Bond, that could have kept going. That could have had its own life and done its own spin-off and actually had momentum to carry on. And then, they could have had something really fun where they actually joined forces for a movie, But instead, they decided to take this really half-assed, approach to it, pandering approach to it. And it's in the end, it's not gonna help benefit anybody. It's just gonna lead to less diversity in the long run, and it's not actually helping. It's not gonna be fruitful. Wookiee lives matter. It's a fad. Let them get this ridiculous as possible, so we can get past this and get back to business. Yeah, exactly. It's like, but that's how it feels, doesn't it? It doesn't ring true. And that's how the feeling is. And I know exactly what you mean, because I have that exact same thought when I'm watching this. I think to myself, this is a fad. This is just, they're just trying to get all this out. Let them voice and stomp their feet and get all this out in the open. In the end, it's not going to make money. These people aren't really the people who are watching this. And then once it's gone, it's going to revert back to its original form. And once it does, you've lost more diversity than you actually, because you didn't create anything new out of any of this. They didn't create any new characters. So anyway, that's all that done. It's silly. It's silly on the face of it, and nobody's buying it. That's the thing too. Nobody's actually buying this. I've seen a lot of black people on YouTube channels and stuff like that who look at this and say it's silly themselves. This is just ridiculous. Like this, they're not buying this. This is like it's as phony as it comes. And if they really cared about diversity and inclusivity and stuff like that, then they would take the time to make a good character. But they're not. And this is actually more insulting in the long run than anything else they've ever done. Well, anyway, we get the point. So what I'm here to actually talk about, guys, do you guys watch Red Letter Media? Anybody here watch Red Letter Media? Mike Soskala, I don't know how you pronounce his name. He and Rich Evans, who they do this thing where they do predictions. So they predict Star Wars, the Han Solo. They predict, and they did a pretty good job with that one. And they're usually pretty good with their predictions on what they think. And they take, they look at all the evidence that's out there. They look at the trailers. They look at photos. They look at what people have said, and they try to devise what they think is going to happen in the movie. And what they kind of came up with, and I started watching it, was very interesting to me, because when the more Mike started talking about it, the more evidence for it he came up with, and it made too much sense to ignore, just far too much sense to ignore. He proposed in his, hey, Black Hat Cinephile, how's it going, my friend? How you doing? Yeah, I don't know how much of this you caught, but I was ranting about 007, but now I'm talking about Star Wars. And the new and the idea that Star Wars is possibly going to be going back in time. Now, the reason I said this before was because this was a theory brought up by Mike Soskala from Red Letter Media. He has a lot of evidence to support this, too much that it's hard to ignore. And when you look at his reasons for it and the evidence behind that, it makes so much sense that you just want to slam your head against the wall. Because I believe that is what's going to happen. I've never really thought, I'm not a big theory guy, but this one really stands out to me because it is something that is really interesting. So what Mike says is that first of all, J.J. Abrams, who is directing this, he's not writing this. I think he's part writing or co-writing it with the guy who did Batman v Superman. I think those are the guys writing the team writing it. So it's going to be great right there and then. That you got the guy who brought you Martha. Is that mine? That's my mother's name. My mother's name. Why'd you say that name? He's the one who's going to be co-writing that movie. So right away, we're up for a treat. We're in for a treat here. But he also decided, here's the thing, because J.J. Abrams has this history, and this is where it really gets interesting, because he did that right off the bat with Star Trek, right? He right away came up with the Kelvin timeline, and that changed everything in Star Trek from that moment on, from the first new movie that came out, boom, back in time, changed canon, and then bam, a different tangent timeline, so that he could pretty much wield and do as he saw fit. So he already has that history of going back in time. Now people are probably saying, but Shaney, they do go back in time in Star Trek a lot. So it works in Star Trek. They never go back in time in Star Wars. Well, they don't do a lot of things they did in Star Wars. So you never know. Now also, J.J. Abrams was quoted as saying, I'm not going to pull up the quotes, but you can go look it up. He was quoted in saying this will be our last movie So what the hell, or something like that, or he just like, let's go, like pretty much saying he's going to go for broke here. So why not? So we know he's going to take a real huge risk in this movie. He pretty much said that. And so that's all the circumstantial stuff. Now here's the real evidence behind this, because there's a lot of really interesting points that Mike points out when he talked about what we've seen in the trailer. So first thing that he came up with was the Millennium Falcon, and how we all know that the satellite dish in the Millennium Falcon was destroyed in Return of the Jedi, in that scene where they destroy the Death Star. It gets smashed, and then so we know that the new satellite that they put on was this more rectangular one that we've been seeing in the new movies. So in the trailer, though, he pulled out some pictures of the trailer where it shows the old Millennium Falcon, which someone actually pointed it out, somebody who makes the models, because it's really quick. But it goes, the Millennium Falcon that you see in the trailer has the round satellite dish. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, that could be a flashback. Sure, you're going to see that there's going to be a lot of flashbacks in this movie. It's either going to go back in time or the whole thing's flashbacks, because that's what you're seeing now. You also see in the trailer, Rey has the blue lightsaber, which we know was already destroyed when she leaps over the TIE fighter coming in. So as she leaps, you'll notice she's got Luke's old lightsaber again. Now, how does she have Luke's lightsaber when we saw it break, just snap in two? So did she fix it? I don't think she fixed it. So why would they make her fix that one and not make a new lightsaber altogether that is hers? I mean, that would be the natural progression of Rey's character, to be making her own lightsaber as opposed to remaking Luke's lightsaber. So there's that. There's another one. We also see that she's wearing old clothes all the time from the original. So I don't know, Sam. I'm not saying I don't know how she's going back in time, or how far, or how many times. I'm just saying there's evidence to suggest it's either going to be completely just a bunch of they're going to go back in time, or then they're going to do a lot of memory stuff, which I think is not going to case. We've also heard now, also in the TIE fighter scene, we see gloves, and not only they never show the face, they just show guy piloting it with gloves, and we see those gloves, and those gloves are very, very reminiscent to Darth Vader, guys. Darth Vader's gloves. So who's flying that TIE fighter? That's a good question. Where is that TIE fighter, and what time period is that that scene? He's got black gloves on, and you look at it, it's very similar to Darth Vader's gloves. It's obvious Disney doesn't understand Star Wars. Well, yeah. If Wookiee Lives Matter, if Disney understood Star Wars, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. This is all predicated on the fact that Disney doesn't understand Star Wars, or doesn't even care to understand. All they want to do is pander. Pander to us now, because they got their ass reamed for the last 2 years or 3 years or whatever. So you have that. Now there's also scenes with Luke Skywalker wearing a glove. Now if Luke comes back as a Force ghost, which they say, why would Luke be wearing a glove? Why would Luke still have the robotic hand? He can come back any way he wants. And he doesn't have that glow around him either. He's got that. He still has the hand with the robotic hand. And he also has its images of him beside R2-D2, which is, again, almost reminiscent of the scenes we saw in the first trailer. Now, why is that? Maybe that's because it's not a Force ghost Luke, but a Luke back in time. He was a whiny loser in A New Hope. Luke was a whiny loser in Black Hat Cinephiles. They probably want to go back in time to make Luke out to be a loser in the OT. The funny part, I actually, now that you say whiny loser in the New Hope, because I'm doing a retro review of A New Hope with Billy, and I'm rewatching that with a fine-tooth comb, A New Hope, and my God, yeah, he really was whiny. He was very whiny. He even was like stomping his feet, going, "I want to go play with my friends." At one point, like not exactly those words, but that's pretty much what he was doing. because he was like, no, we need you here in the farm. We need you to help out clean the droids. He's like, you never let me go out play with my friends. They had that. It was a real interesting scene that I don't remember. You watch it a few times, but these still scenes that you rewatch with different eyes. Also, R2D2 is C3PO is almost insufferable in that movie when you watch it again, because I just like he acts like your grandmother. Your old aging grandmother. Oh, my back, complaining. Oh, it's all we're doomed every 5 minutes, like drama queen every time he went out there. I don't even know how R2 students could stand him. Now, I know they don't understand it because going back in time seems almost ridiculous. But here's all the things too, by the way. I've heard rumors. There's been a lot of rumors that of what's his name, of Han Solo possibly being back in this. I've heard rumors of even Darth Vader being in this. Now when we get to the laugh from Palpatine, is that Palpatine's essence back, or is it Palpatine himself? See, here's the question I'm asking: is that I'm actually on board on this. Oh, going back in time is definitely grasping at straws, dude. I 100% believe. I think that's what they're going to do, because they have to do something. I thought about this the minute like after I did my review 2 years ago. I kept coming up with reasons as to how to fix this. And I couldn't come up with one solid reason. Or one solid way that wasn't silly. And even going back in time is silly, but at least it's somewhere in the sci-fi realm and has been used many times. So I think it's the least of the silly proposals to fix it. Black Hat Cinephile, when it was originally made, Luke's age wasn't signed up with Leia's yet, so we might have been the same age as Mark, 25, and make his issues about being stuck on the farm more valid. Well, apparently there was actually cut scenes in your New Hope that I didn't know about, where he was hanging out with his buddies on Tatooine, and a whole bunch of synced. Sorry. Now, but I kind of understood what you meant. The thing is that I there was a bunch of cut scenes where he was hanging out with his buddies and goofing around on Tatooine and stuff. That was all cut for time. But there was apparently that was the whole thing there. Leia's, yeah. I mean, Leia. Sorry, Wookiee Lives Matter says Tochi station scene. Yes, that's right. That's right. There was a Tochi station scene. I didn't know what it was called, but I did know that there was a I saw bits of the scene, but I didn't know that was actually part of it. But yeah, they cut it out, which wasn't interesting. I wish they hadn't cut it out. I think it would have been an interesting thing to see Luke in his everyday, going through the motions with friends, and you start understanding his drive to get out of the town more, and what drove him to leave. But they didn't, and that's it. But yeah, like that. Those I feel like they don't, going back in time, and go back to that whole Luke thing. I like that Luke was a spoiled brat, because it shows you the maturity level. It shows you how he matures. That's what we need to see more out of Rey. What we didn't see out of Rey was that she was already ready-made mature level. You never see any. That's one of her major issues as a Mary Sue, is that she doesn't grow. Carrie Fisher was 19 in 1977, but Mark wasn't. They had to be synced for them to be twins. Yeah, no, I understand that, but when you're actors, I mean, Luke looked young, so regardless, Luke was 19. How old was Luke? You said 25, right? That's 6 years difference. Carrie Fisher, she looked older. I mean, she looked a little more mature than Luke did, actually, than Mark Hamill. So I think they synced each other. I think they looked fine. They looked all right as twins. Yeah, I mean, he was 25, but he did not look 25. He looked like he was about 18, 19, possibly 20 the most. I thought they did a good job with I mean, he looks young anyway. He looked younger than he was. Carrie Fisher, I think the makeup actually helped, and what she was wearing helped age her a bit as well. Her being 19 and running all that, it's kind of interesting that too as well. It was 19-year-old and she's running an entire rebellion. It's very impressive, very impressive. But anyway, yeah, I feel going back in time is a hard thing to pull off. But we know. Listen, we just saw Endgame do it. We just saw Endgame successfully in the box office. Pull off, basically what considers in the first movie to be a devastating loss where everybody's dead. I mean, think about it. How many rebels or rebels are left? There's what, 25, 35? How many were left that's all that. How are you going to fight back against with that few people? There's no way to do it. I can't, like, that's what I mean. When every time I started thinking about how they could fix this, I'm like, they painted themselves into such. Rian Johnson painted the movie into such a corner, or the series into a corner. The villain is a dud. He, you kill off Snoke, and Kylo Ren has lost to Rey twice, and so there's unless like someone said he somehow sucks up the essence of Palpatine and becomes a Force god, which might happen, but that in itself is a silly premise. So why not? And maybe that is what happened. Maybe he does find he finds the old Death Star, sucks up all the essence of Palpatine, and becomes he becomes some Force god that can defeat Rey like Thanos with a snap of his fingers. Who the hell knows? Or maybe Palpatine is telling him to do something or go back in time. Maybe it's Rey. Maybe it's him that goes back in time because Palpatine is calling to him. Who knows? And now she's got to follow him through time. This all seems horrible. It just all seems extremely horrible. In these kind of, like, if it was a Star Trek movie, I'd accept it more. They've already done the they went back in time to save an ancient species from total annihilation. They did that before. So, I could see Star Trek keep doing it. Star Wars, not so much. But that's the only way I could see to fix this. You fix it by breaking it more. And that's it. Everything that they're saying about this movie that I've heard, Daisy Ridley, they're going to be so happy. It's like, you're going to please the fans. It sounds like people who don't understand what the fans want. And they still don't understand what the fans wanted or what the complaints were in the first place. So they're going to say stuff like, yeah, we really think that that the fans are going to like it. Probably because we're going to see all these old faces back because of the time travel, that they think that everyone's just going to have a jolly good show with nostalgia, which, that happens. It could happen. Then people just forget about the time travel stuff and just allow themselves to enjoy seeing, old characters do cool things. Which, I mean, at this stage in the game, that's pretty much all we could pretty much hope for when it comes to this, is that we just put our mind away and say, this is already kind of crap. So let's stop expecting it to be good and just accept the shit. Either you accept it for being shit, or going forward, or then you you can keep fighting it and say, well, and just sort of like throw it in the garbage altogether and stop watching. Which either one is fine by me, to be honest with you. I mean, if you could put your mind away and say, hey, we're going to go back in time and we're going to try and retcon everything and have some fun with some old characters, and everyone will be like, all right, that's cool. At least we have that. This whole series is kind of a disaster, so there's no way of fixing a disaster. So might as well do it. Might as well go that route. But if that's not the case, and you just feel like you cannot abide by all this canon changing and all this stuff, and then I'd say drop Disney altogether, because there's no point in torturing yourself any further. There is Carrie was so angelic, bouncy, and bouncy. Angelically bouncy. She was angelically bouncy. She was with her little marshmallowy flowy outfit. But she was also very, I don't know, she was extremely cute, man. She was extremely cute in that movie. Well, she was cute in all her movies, but I thought she was probably the most cute. Although I found her less, I don't know, I found her a little more annoying in the second one, Empire Strikes Back, just because she just sort of knew she liked Han Solo, but she wouldn't admit it, and that was kind of that whole battle. While interesting to watch and fun, it sort of was her character kind of was like flipped over, where she kind of looked like the power in the first movie. In the second movie, it seemed like he sort of was the dominant one, and in the third movie, it was just love. It was all love, you know. But I like how in Return of the Jedi, she says, "You're my sister," and then she goes, "Deep down, I always knew that." And he should have said, "What? You knew that when we kissed? You knew that when we kissed twice? We kissed twice. How did you know all that?" So we had some Game of Thrones things happening there. She was damn hot. I never, I saw the Blues Brothers like years and years and years ago. I haven't seen the Blues Brothers since I can't even remember it. That's the thing. I was never into the Blues Brothers, to be honest with you. I mean, I saw it one time and it never really stuck to me. It didn't hook me in. I don't know, but maybe I should rewatch it. It was a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, that I did see it. But anyway, that's really, I mean, I wasn't expecting to do a live stream today, but when I saw this interesting thing, I feel like this is something that is going to happen. I'm almost I can't say 100% sure, but the evidence suggests that they're either going to do a ton of like flashback sequences. Which why do we need that many flashback sequences? I mean, we're gonna have a movie with just a bunch of flashbacks. Or they're going to fix this by going back in time, or try to retcon it by going back in time, because then it's unfixable. Going back in time isn't going to fix it. But going back in time could, at some level, make it sort of tolerable. That's the only thing we can sort of hope, because going back in time, while stupid and contrived, and yes, anytime you implement time travel in something, you right away you lessen. And here's the thing: this is another thing Mike mentioned, because I thought that this was an interesting premise. Because how are they going to go back in time? And I thought that she probably is not going to go back in time physically. She's probably going to go back in time using the Force. And I thought that that's an interesting premise too. If she can meditate, and maybe Luke teaches her that. Maybe that's what Luke does. He comes back as a Force ghost and teaches her and teaches her how to train her mind to travel through time and space using the Force, which is an interesting concept in itself. I'm not actually opposed to that premise, but the whole necessity for doing it though is what's annoying, because now they got to go back in time and fix a bunch of stuff, because they're decimated. They're down to 30 people left. I mean, how do you form a rebellion with 30 people? They got 30 people. There's like the half the galaxy is destroyed. You got, I mean, because the original the Star Killer base, I don't know how many planets they destroyed. You have a villain who's ineffectual. You have a hero who's just too powerful. You have you killed off one of your most classic characters in the most horrible way possible. Actually, two characters killed off horribly, both being Luke and Han Solo. Don't forget Akbar. They got to redo that. It's a trap. They have to bring back Akbar. So the only way to do all that stuff that people really are upset about is to go back in time and retcon it. There's no other way to do that. And so I'm actually okay with it. I'm okay with it. I know it sucks. I know it's stupid, but I'm okay with it. Lena Darret, speaking to me in Russian. All right, how's it going, Lena? Lena Darret, thank you for speaking to me in Russian. I don't have a Google Translate, unfortunately. Toriel G, how's it going? You're always welcome in my house. Yeah, so I don't know. Are you guys really opposed to this idea? Do you guys hate all that? Russians, hell yeah. The Russians are invading my channel. Now people are gonna think I'm wearing a red hat. Uh-oh. Guys, I'm in big trouble, guys. I'm wearing a red hat and I got some Russians hanging around my channel. So we all know I'm in cahoots. I wish they'd re-edit The Last Jedi and make it a better movie. Make a better movie out of it. I wish they would scrap it altogether. My actual wish would be to scrap it, just to completely scrap the movie, because and start over. Actually, I want them to completely scrap the entire all of these movies actually and start over, because you can even keep the same characters. I don't mind, but do them better, flesh them out, because they're all become completely horrible characters, and like there's nothing redeeming about any of them. Finn is a joke. I liked Finn in the first movie. Finn's potential in the first movie. Him as a defected stormtrooper has so much potential, and none of it was realized. None of it. They dropped the whole thing. The minute he left the ship, it was like all he had left was a few people who were annoyed by him, but or some. I was a garbage. I worked in the garbage refuse department or whatever. Like, have him do, like, they could have made his backstory so incredible. Like, he's the first defected stormtrooper we've ever seen. So there maybe give us a reason for why, even if it's a throwaway line, give us a reason other than he freaked out on the battlefield. I mean, you must have freaked out, and you must have seen that a few times. Now I got to Google Translate what she's saying, guys. Does anybody know Russian? You want to Google Translate this for me? She's blowing me a lot of kisses. So I really want to see what's going on here. Let's see. I'm gonna use Google Translate, guys. So bear with me here. I want to see what's going on. This is kind of interesting. Google Translate. I'm assuming this is Russian. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna see this because I am very interested. I'm interested to know about what is happening here. She's blowing me too many kisses. I gotta know what this is. My wife is gonna get upset at me. Where? Ukraine, Russian. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna listen to my humming. It's some sweet humming. Persian, Russian. All right, let's go. What happened here? Why won't it paste? I'm gonna copy this and paste. It won't paste it. What's going on? Why won't it let me paste? Does anybody know? She's asking me a lot of questions here. All right, let's go. Do you have a Palpatine figure? Okay, we got some communication going, guys. She asked me if I have a Palpatine figure. No, I don't know. I mean, I probably have more of a Darth Vader figure. Yoda figure, maybe. I got a Yoda figure. No, I don't have a Palpatine figure, actually. I don't have a very good Star Wars collection. I will be honest. I'm trying to get one, but it's really expensive at this point to get old figures. So that's why I can only get newer stuff, and I kind of don't want to buy newer stuff because I don't want to give Disney my money at this point, but I feel like I may have to. So what else did she say? I do not know English well, but I love you. Oh. So, okay, well, thank you. I'm glad you love me. And I love you too. See, I'm translating, guys, for that garbage detail job they gave Finn was bogus. Because garbage men and soldiers are two different jobs. The whole thing was to squeeze Phasma into another scene, but they made her a coward. Oh, they completely destroyed Phasma. Before I saw the movie, I seen the figures for Phasma, and I was like, wow, she looks pretty. And I liked it. I wanted to buy one. And I was good, but I was gonna wait for the movies. I don't want to get in much she's crap. So, but I really was thinking about buying her figure, and I was gonna enjoy like the nice die cast one that they had. But I was going to buy that one because I really liked it. And I ended up waiting to see the movie, and she ended up being so crap that I gave up any hopes or any designs on buying it. Um, so yeah. So Lena, since you can't speak Russian, I will try my best to translate as the best I can. Um, but how did you get to know me, by the way? Just out of curiosity. This is your first time I've ever seen you here. That's why I asked the question. But yeah, I think I don't know, guys. I don't know. I really feel like they're going to jump the shark, but it might actually be fun in a way. I know it sounds bad, and I know I'm not. I don't know. I'm just sort of all over the place because I feel like at least okay. Let me process this. At least by going back in time, it seems like if that's the case, by the way, it seems like our anger and our all the complaints we have is being heard by Disney, which is a good thing, right? That's what we kind of want, is it not? We kind of want them to acknowledge our anger, to acknowledge we want it changed. And it seems like if that's the case, it seems like they're trying. Now, I'm not saying they're going to do a successful job at it, and I'm not saying that we're going to like the way they're going to change it. But it does at least seem like they're trying. And I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about this. This is why I kind of want to talk to you guys, because I part of me is sort of excited for this, and I know I know it sounds horrible, and I'm not excited like I'm going to run out and buy the tickets first day. No, not happening. But I'm sort of interested, and not excited, interested, intrigued. Intrigued is the best word. Intrigued to see what they're doing with the whole time travel thing. It's a shit store. The whole thing is a dumpster fire, and so to expect anything less in the next movie, I was legitimately before this thinking it was just going to be some generic, half-assed piece of crap that they were going to try to retcon a little bit, and then sort of fill holes and whatever. And even if they did, say, make Luke a clone, for instance, and say, "Oh, that happened wasn't really Luke," like, which I've heard a lot of people theorize, I'm just thinking that's just as horrible to me as time travel. At least for me, it is. I don't see any real validity like of making a clone or making all these weird things. So I just Google translated something else. She said, Lena Darrett said, "You said, do you have in the background Megazoids of Mighty Ranger or Mighty Rangers I can hardly see?" Okay. I do not have any Power Ranger toys. Sorry, guys. I do not have Power Ranger toys. None. Zero. I was a fan of the show when it originally came out, but then it just became like every 5 minutes a new Ranger show, another one. And it, to me, was very derivative of something that I truly, truly love, which is Voltron. I love Voltron, the new Netflix series. I love it, and I love the old Voltron as well. As you can see up there, there's a Voltron, which to me is like Power. It's the better version of Power Rangers in my mind, my opinion. But everyone has their own opinion, and that's fine if you guys like Power Rangers more. But yeah. So guys, I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think, because I'm actually kind of I don't know. I'm part of me is excited to see what they're going to do. I'm not going to spend money on it right off the bat. If I hear good things and people are raving about it online, saying this is the best movie ever, Star Wars is, and I'm not talking about the shill people. I'm talking about our people here. I'm talking about, if Jeremy and Doomcock get on and start saying, that it's a wonderful movie and that we should go check it out, I will go check it out. Other than that, I probably won't. They canceled Mystic Knights to do Power Rangers, and I liked Mystic Knights better. I don't remember which one was Mystic Knights. Now I gotta Google that. You guys are making me Google a lot today. Mystic Knights. Mystic Knights. I had a friend that was a Power Ranger. He was a Yellow Ranger, I believe. Oh, man, that's right. Okay. Yeah. They canceled that for Power Rangers? Interesting. It's kind of funny how Power Rangers got started, though. It's like Power Rangers was this like Power Rangers was this show that uh, it was basically a Japanese like show that the America that I think I don't know what company bought it. An American company bought it, and then they just decided to like dub the voices and make their own thing around it, which was interesting. It's like they didn't make their own content; they bought some weird Japanese thing and decided to build a thing around it, which was a very interesting. Irish sorcerers. Oh, that's interesting. Does it take? So I guess it's almost like Knights of the Round Table kind of thing, only Irish style. Um, well, I like all that stuff. When we talk about like like Arthur Knights, and I know it's not Arthur Knights. I see the picture here, and they look like medieval knights meets the Power Rangers. But it's interesting. I love the creativity of that kind of stuff, though. Just to go nuts. Let's see what else she says here, guys. I'm trying to my best. She put a lot of effort into typing me stuff in Russian, so I'm trying. I don't know if everyone would do this, but I don't care. Would you like an autograph by Mark Hamilia? This is what it said, Mark Hamilia, or other Star Wars actors. I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to have an autograph. Do I need an autograph? Not really. I'm not a big celebrity chaser. I mean, I appreciate celebrities. I appreciate them as actors. I respect them, but I don't chase after them. I don't need their signature in any more than they need my signature. When everyone says like, someone's coming to town, are you going to go see them? I'm like, are they going to come visit me? If they're not coming to visit me, then what's the point? I don't chase stars. I never have. I don't really care. I respect them. I respect what they do. But I don't chase them. I don't care about their autograph. They're just people. They're just people with a little more money and more. And you could respect them for that. But I don't mind watching their art. But to actually get out and look for autographs, and like even when I see people chasing after likes and stuff on from celebrities on Twitter and stuff, I don't like. Okay, they liked your thing, but they are people, right? They are people like you and me. They all go to the washroom, they wipe their butts, they just use better brand of toilet paper. That's all. they use 4-ply, I assume. We use 2, and they use 4-ply to wipe their butts, and so that makes them somehow better than us. But really, they're just people. Some are nice, some are douchebags, and just like us here, and that's why I don't really care. But that's my thing, and I don't. If other people want to see them, then I don't mind. You guys can go. I mean, I don't judge others if you guys are into that. I remember the first season of Powerful Rangers, Lord Zed, Rita, Repulsa. I don't know how we got into Power Rangers, but here I guess we're going to continue. Power Rangers, the first season I liked, and I was in love with the Pink Ranger. I was so in love with the Pink Ranger that I actually dated a girl who, just because she looked like the Pink Ranger, that was her claim to fame for me. She looked like the Pink Ranger, and I used to introduce her. Doesn't she look like the Pink Ranger? Oh my God, it's like I'm dating a Ranger. Oh my God. I was like, and here I just talked about not wanting celebrities. I only like celebrities if they look like the Pink Ranger. But that's the only. Now you're giving me a frowny face. Now I got to check out the frowny face. A lot of texting here. I really like this. These translations. We should have an actual translator for YouTube. That'd be an interesting thing. I'm very sorry that Carrie Fisher didn't live up to episode 9. Why? It wasn't your fault. I don't know if you meant. I don't know if it's lost in translation. Maybe you didn't mean sorry. But it wasn't her fault. It wasn't Carrie Fisher's fault. It was the writing. The writing was poor. The agenda came before the actual movie, and the quantity and the quality of the movie. And that's why you see now that they're probably going to go and she looked like Kimberly. Yes, she did look like Kimberly. She looked a lot like Kimberly. At least to me. I thought so. I thought so. But she had issues. it was it was far beyond Kimberly's issues. She had a lot of issues, and we ended up not. No, she was also older than me. She was 2 or 3 years my senior at the time. I was 18, and I think she was like 21 or 22. Um, but yeah, we met camping and glamping, and yeah, so. But I don't think she even knew what I talked about when I said she looked like a Power Ranger. I don't even think she knew what the hell I was talking about. I was like, "You remind me of the Pink Ranger." She's like, "I don't even know what's that. What's the Pink Ranger? I don't know. As long as it's pink." She didn't mind. But yeah, I feel like I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my head around all this. Do you guys agree with me? By the way, I'm not sure if you guys are like agreeing with me on this back in time business. But I do wonder if you guys do agree that this is at least a possibility, because when Mike said it at first, I was like, nah. But then the stuff he started saying, more and more stuff, the fact that JJ has done this before, the fact that he says he's going to go all out in this, the fact that we've heard Palpatine, we've seen signs that Luke Skywalker is an older version of himself, or a newer version of himself, seeing that he has the glove still. We see Rey with the blue lightsaber. We see the Millennium Falcon with the satellite dish that's round, whereas we know that was destroyed in Return of the Jedi. So we know that at the very least there's going to be a ton of flashbacks, and at this rate, there's all going to be a lot of flashbacks. Not one flashback, but a ton of them. Unless there's just one flashback, and all of these scenes are from that one flashback. But we really haven't seen flashbacks yet, in even in the new Star Wars. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I just think it is interesting. I do think it's interesting. Uh, do you guys like monster stuff, like Japanese monster movies? Do you watch Harry Potter? I watch Harry Potter. Yes, I've watched multiple Harry Potters. I've never been the biggest Harry Potter fan. I like the movies. I've watched them all. I've seen them in the theater, but I'm not like a big follower of Harry Potter. I know there's just all my other family just love Harry Potter to death, and but there's some people who you know, can give you every single ritual, or every single, like, I don't know, magic spell. I can't do that. I don't know any magic spells. I'm not that into it. But I do like it. I like all these kind of things. This fantasy stuff. Um, it's too bad that we don't have anybody making any new stuff. There was a Russian movie I saw, by the way. What was it? Now I gotta remember. Was it Legion? It was like a Russian movie that was similar to the Avengers, and it was like a guy that turned into a bear. I can't remember that name, and I saw it, and I liked that movie. Oh yes, anime. See, for me, I love anime, and I do want to talk about anime a lot more on my channel. I just feel like if I do, nobody's gonna come because I don't know that many people that like anime, but I love anime. Um, which Teriel G, which anime is your favorite? I'd like to know. Well, if you guys all like anime, which one's your favorite? And if you don't like anime, why not? Did anime hurt your feelings? No, honestly, a lot of people have this thing against anime, and I don't really understand why. I used to, actually, to be honest, I'm kind of being a hypocrite, because I used to hate anime too for no reason. Palpatine, by the way, Vader's platonic father and Kylo Ren's great grandfather. Vader's platonic father and Kylo Ren's great grandfather. Is that what you think? You're thinking that Palpatine is Palpatine's platonic father? Interesting. Interesting. I mean, it's I don't. It's possible. It's possible that the midichlorians run strong in our family. So we know that he's got a lot of midichlorians, which they just dropped. There's no midichlorians left. But yeah, no, my favorite. I love anime. And a friend turned me on to anime a while ago, because they used to say, you got to watch this anime Naruto, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not into Naruto. I mean, I watched The Last Airbender, which I loved. I loved that it's not even an anime because it was American, so but it was in the same style as anime. And I love Studio Ghibli stuff. Somebody was like, "You got to watch this Naruto stuff," and I'm like, I don't know. Every time I turn on Dragon Ball Z, and I just see people screaming, just like, ah! He screams so loud that his hair turned blue. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I mean, when you first watch it, right, and you don't know anything about it, and you just turn on the channel and you just see Dragon Ball, you're like, he screamed so loud that his hair turned yellow. I don't understand what's going on here. Cowboy Bebop, Bleach, and Trinity Blood. I've watched Cowboy Bebop. I've watched Bleach. I've never watched Trinity Blood. Naruto is, I don't know. I disagree. Here's the funny part. This is what I'm going to say. I love about anime. When you originally see it and you look at it from a distance and from an outsider's perspective, right, without knowing the details and the storyline and what's going on, and just by the dialogue and just by the way the animation looks, sometimes you could say it's a very childish kids, medium, and it is at first. But even with Naruto, or something even silly, if you go to bloody One Piece, I don't know if you even know what One Piece is, but if you go to One Piece and you look at that animation style is so off-putting that it's sort of like, how the hell could you even get into this? And then One Piece became my actual favorite of all time anime. And even I started getting into Dragon Ball Z, which I couldn't even stand at first because it was just so weird and just like off-putting. But then you start getting into the story, and not that the story is that great or deep in Dragon Ball. It's sort of not that deep at all, but just something drags you in into these things. And Naruto is one of those where I always argue that it is a very deep story and is dark. And all of this is almost like there's a yin yang thing happening with anime where there's this childish, kiddish side, and then there's this darkness embedded in it. And that's sort of like what you sort of go to watch it, is because within every childish sequence, there is embedded into it a really, really dark theme. Whether it's it could be rape, it could be it just, there's so much in there that is played childishly, but yet it is watching Gundam. Have you ever watched even one Gundam? Gundam is such a harsh anime. I love Transformers. Look at me. I love Transformers. But when you watch Transformers and then you go watch a Gundam, like an original Gundam from the 80s, these little kids in a war dying and talking about actual trauma. PTSD of a little boy and fighting with a Gundam, murdering someone for the first time, and how he's coping with the killing of a person that he knew, or he didn't know, just somebody he couldn't see who they were, but he was tasked to kill someone just because they were on the opposite side of him. These themes are so powerful and so dark, but then they're played off with this kiddish sort of music and weird stuff around it. But Gundam is really dark, and I realized, wow, we are so sheltered. When you look at Japanese kids sitting there watching Gundam, I'm like, holy shit, Gundam is darker than Platoon. and yet they're watching, Japanese kids are consuming that, and we get upset when Teletubbies gets out of line. It's just so weird. But yeah, no, Death Note's another one. I tried watching Death Note. I couldn't get into that one. I don't know why. I just couldn't really get into that one. There's just so many. And I think that right now, because if you actually look, comics are taking a back seat to manga. Manga is actually starting to really take over comic books. And it's like financially. And I think now you're seeing Funimation, I think, was bought by an American company. I think it was not Fun. Was it Funimation? I can't remember. But anyway, one company is. I really think they're going to try and do more anime movies. Do you have new figures from the 9th episode of Star Warriors on you, right? Star Warriors? Oh, you do have figures from the 9th episode of Star Wars. Yes, I do. Do I? I do have these little ones. I have these ships from the new one. I have a Finn, but I bought these like in that collection set. When this was before, like when the first one came out, and a BB-8, little soccer ball. I always wondered, why did they draw it so close? Like the colors are so close to an actual FIFA soccer ball. I thought that was just an interesting thing that they did. I got a bunch more of them in there. Yeah, I do have some, but I have only bought them after the first movie, but I didn't get them in the second movie. I said, forget it. I ain't buying no more Star Wars stuff. I used to have a collection of Star Wars toys when I was a kid, but my mom threw them out. I didn't have anything really that great. Like I didn't have like original like Kenner figures and stuff, but I did have like vehicles, and I had creatures and monsters and things like that. I don't. But my mom, she threw out a lot of my G.I. Joe collection was just insane. If I had my G.I. Joe, I wish I had my G.I. Joe collection back. I had every single freaking thing. I loved it, and it's all gone. My mom went and cleaned it out. You're getting too old for toys. And she just gave it all to the Salvation Army. And I was like, but the army doesn't need my toys. I need my toys. No, you're getting too old. You need to start dating girls. They were worried about me for a while. But yeah, let's see what else. I'm doing the Google Translate thing again. Are these nights your black box? My black box. You're talking about the black box series of Star Wars. I have a black box series, Boba Fett, and this one, Padme, and this one is a Luke repro from Walmart, I think. But yeah, I gotta find my new toys. I don't know. I gotta find my. I collect, since we're now on my toys section. I collect a lot of 80s stuff, as you can tell from my 80s section here that I put together. You guys can see. Let me show you a little more of it. And Thundercats, and on this side here, I have Ninja Turtle section. My wife loves her Barbie, so you can see the Barbie car there. And I told her, why is it on the floor? It's blocking my thing. Get it out of my front of my damn case. But yeah, that's that section. My dad trashed most of my Star Wars stuff. I still have had that stuff to sell. I could have retired by now. Yeah, I know, man. That stuff is so like. I went to a toy convention just recently, a couple of like last week, and I wanted to buy more. I wanted to buy a whole bunch of Star Wars collections, start bringing it back, but it was just too much. It was too much money. These guys wanted ridiculous money for it, and I was like, all right, I can't. And I can't just buy one figure. I have to buy I'm like that. I have to buy like a few of them at a time. So at least there's like a good, decent a good, decent like amount of them. But I just getting. I know you should start one and whatever, but I have this thing. I ended up buying was Thundercats, the original Thundercat figures, which I had lost too when I was a kid. Stole. My mom stole them. Chick figures, just adorable. Chick figures. I don't know what chick figures is. Chick, you mean girls? The girl figures. That's the thing about toys too. Is like it's so hard to find the girls. That's the one thing. It's like girls are always more money because they make so few of like for instance Cheetara for Thundercats was extremely hard to find. Tila is hard to find. Because they didn't make that many of them. And so I still don't have the Sorceress, and I had the hots for the Sorceress, by the way. I like the Sorceress better than Tila in the cartoon. Am I the only one? Come on, guys. Tila or the Sorceress? Let's hashtag Sorceress. She was my babe. I loved her. And her little soft voice. He-Man, I need your help, He-Man. Where I thought Tila was a bit too aggressive. She's not my style. But I did love She-Ra though. She-Ra was but I loved her as a sister though. I wasn't sexually attracted to her or anything like that. Sexually attracted to Tila. No, I think that it's when you collect these toys, it's really hard to find girls. If you guys can find the girls and these things, I suggest get them. Like they'll be worth more. Um, Goodbye. It was nice to talk. Greetings from Russia, and all the best. All right, man. Thank you for coming. I really glad you did come, and you're always welcome back on my channel. And I pretty much said everything I kind of wanted to say on this matter, guys. Because I when we're going back to Star Wars stuff, just as a recap, because I'm almost, I'll say 75% certain they're going back in time. I am 75% certain they're going back in time at some capacity. I do believe it's going to be a force. I think she's going to use the force. Luke will probably train her in that thing and train her to use the force to go back in time. Probably not even go back in time physically, but consciousness, use her consciousness to go back in time. And probably maybe have to witness things. I don't know if she'll have to change stuff, but she definitely is going to have to. Well, I guess she kind of have to change things, otherwise there's no point in retconning it. So she's probably gonna have to go back in time and change some stuff in the future, and then Rey will be the savior, the savior in a different way. She's gonna have to save Star Wars from itself, from Disney. Maybe she could go back in time to before Disney bought Star Wars. You know, I know that's possible. Could she? Do you think Rey could do that? Maybe she uses the Force, goes back in time right before Disney signs the contract, or George Lucas signs off the contract to Disney, and she's like, "No, don't do it, George. You're selling to white slavers, and you know it." And he's like, "It's going to ruin Star Wars. You're going to divide the fans. It's going to be horrible. The world's going to fall into chaos." And he's like, there's a lot of money involved, though. And she, "No, I swear, don't do it. Don't give it to Kathleen Kennedy. She's lying to you. She's not going to do anything she says in this interview." And then he's like, all right. And he rips the contract, and then Mickey Mouse appears. "Oh, I can't believe you screwed me up this bad. Damn it, now I gotta buy Star Trek." And he leaves. That's the only way I think it'll work, is if she goes back in time to prevent Disney from purchasing Star Wars. Which I don't know if it's in her power. I don't know if that's. I know she's strong with the Force, but is Rey that strong with the Force? We'll know her actual, real Mary Sue abilities if she's strong enough to prevent Disney from purchasing Star Wars. Mookie Leisman, I'd watch that. Wouldn't that be the most interesting movie of all, where she just goes, it gets so like meta that she goes back in time. She keeps traveling back to the point where she travels so far back that she's like the eraser on the pencil. "No, don't do it, George. I swear it's not a good move. Remember what happened with the prequels? Well, time, multiply that by 15. That's the level of problems you're going to have with this." Yeah. "Reylo will become a thing." Yeah. And then you'd be like, "Reylo, what is that?" And then Kathleen Kennedy, she's like, she knew all along what was happening. She was this evil, sinister person in the background. And then she goes back in time and prevents Rian Johnson from being born. Donovan Page, it could save Skywalker and put Reylo the movie back on Ryan. Back in Ryan Has No Johnson's underwear drawer. Donovan Page, how's it going? It could save Skywalker and put Reylo the movie back in Ryan Has No Johnson's underwear drawer. I don't know what that last part was. It kind of blended in, but maybe you can explain it. But it could save Skywalker. Well, definitely could save Skywalker. The only thing that gets me still is, even if they go back in time, they still have it out there that Luke still had it in him to, murder his nephew, or think or contemplate about murdering his nephew. Reylo could work if they go back in time, and I'll see why. Because what they could do is, she goes back in time, prevents Kylo Ren from being this evil person. And if the Luke situation doesn't happen, then Kylo Ren doesn't become evil, and then Reylo could be an actual thing where she falls in love with Kylo Ren in the past, a good version of himself, and then it's somewhat tolerable at that point. But here's the joke: Rian Johnson has no Johnson. That I got, that I understood, and I knew that before he said that. By the way, Raylo Raylo can't work. They're brothers and sisters. Um, you think so? You think that they're brothers and sisters? I mean, I guess if it's the rise of Skywalker, and if she's decided, wouldn't it be like? Can you imagine they do this like really ridiculous, thing where she becomes like she's not of this time, and this whole time she was a time traveler. She was from the past, and she was a time traveler, or from and then she was Luke Skywalker's, but from like a distant, like another timeline. It would be, I don't know. Now, see, that's why going back in time it screws up everything, because now you don't know. It creates paradoxes that you can't fix. But I'd still rather have a paradox than a pair of Rian Johnson's docs. I don't know. Jaina and Jaden Solo, Rey and Kylo. Jaina and Raiden and Jaden Solo. Is that from the extended universe? Not to mention, JJ said that Finnery was from the start of the commentary. Not to mention, Rey is confirmed as Luke's niece, but they were discriminated. John Boyega on the Twitter. Huh, Luke's niece, eh? Well, I mean, listen, that's I think what we were all sort of expecting, right? I mean, the first movie, I that's where I thought was going to happen. I either thought that she was going to be Luke's, like, related to Luke or be a Skywalker, or then she was either going to be that, or then she was going to be another version of what's his name, Anakin, where she was going to be made of the Force, so to speak. And that's sort of what I thought was going to happen. She was either going to be another, like an Avatar thing, where she was just going to be come back as a version of another Force presence, or then be but then yeah, Rian Johnson came and screwed, because the whole thing with the lightsaber didn't make any damn sense afterwards. The fact that she touches the lightsaber, no one ever did that. No one ever touched the lightsaber before and had all these visions. Luke didn't touch the lightsaber when it was handed to him from Obi-Wan and go, "This was your father's," and then he goes. She didn't have all this Force memory coming into her, into him, because of the lightsaber. So I always wondered, why did she have this memory, this Force memory from all this stuff that she knew? Why would she? Unless the lightsaber belonged to her. I don't know. That was just a weird thing. Jason turns into Darth Sidious or Cadus. Jaina defeats her brother. Oh, that's yeah. I heard that story actually. That's now that you mention it. I've never read it, but I've heard that. Jaina defeats her brother. I think that is right. That's the extended universe. I don't know much about the extended universe. I'll be honest with you, or the expanded universe stuff. I was never into that stuff, but I know a lot of people that are, and from what I hear, there are a lot of really good stories in that should have been told and never were told, and are way better than this. And that's actually something that I would like to see. Finn is likely Katarn, not to mention, and Kylo should have been bald and scarred, and Luke and Rey should face off Snoke and the Knights of Ren, and Poe and Finn should argue over Rey in the Y-Wing. So Poe and Finn should argue over Rey. They're gonna have a big argument. Rey is mine, but aren't they gonna make Poe gay? I don't know. I heard that was a possibility. Luke is 40 years older than Rey. The original Skywalker and Solo kids would be young adults when he's born. So she could be Luke's late in life kid with a second wife, the Solo twins. Solo twins activate. Form of Millennium Falcon. Shape of blaster. Yeah. I was. It's a weird thing, man. I think I don't know. I've always liked the idea of Rey being a force presence and not being a part of this necessarily. Um, she just because it would be her own story. I don't. But if she is a family member, it also doesn't take away from me either. I mean, I've even toyed with the idea of her being a Palpatine. You know, like in the fact that how they knew that Genghis Khan had a bunch of offspring. Um, that somehow Palpatine had a bunch of offspring out there, and that that we don't know of, just roaming around. That she could have been one of them. Not to mention Lando was supposed to return, and Lando and save Finn in 8, and Poe was never gay. Poe was either with Rey. Well, Poe was never gay. I'm not saying Poe was gay. I was just joking. Poe was either with Rey because she found him handsome, and Poe looked like Han and Leia, and so yeah. Well, Poe is another character that I think that they. I also tension between Poe and Holdo. Yeah, I mean there was definite tension there. There was definite tension there, and that would have been a nice twist. Hey, to that the ending of that movie would have been Poe and Holdo just making out in the closet. You just open the door and just like, oh. And then she still, even after they made out and almost had like, they make out, he goes to like third base. Next thing you know, she still won't tell him the plan. You're a cold bitch. She still won't tell him the plan. You still don't deserve to know the plan, flyboy. And then she walks away. But but at least he got something out of it. Oh, it's gross. Haldo is E.T. Haldo. Ouch. Haldo, phone home. I picked up some hints that Poe liked Finn. Yeah, I thought so too. I thought I found some hints in that. Finn, I don't know. Finn to me, his character is just all over the place. I didn't like the idea of Finn. I don't like the idea of Finn taking a beating in the first scene. I thought the guy's trained. He's a trained soldier, and she's a person who fought, I guess, she learned how to defend herself being alone. I would take the trained soldier over the person fighting on their own any day of the week, just because he should be a trained soldier, and the fact that he went down as easy as he did was kind of silly. Just again, it's just more nonsense in Rey's character. I thought Rey herself, she does not realized well at all. And I know people will say, "What do you mean? She's the most realized character. She's the most realized." I read that online, and I just want to say, what movie are you watching? Are you watching a movie you created in your head? Because Rey is not the most realized character ever. She's the least realized person I've ever seen in any film. She has no motivation, none. Like that's the number one thing that a protagonist should have is her own motivation and what she's trying to accomplish. And you still 2 movies in don't know what the heck she wants other than to find her family, but she doesn't actively search for her family. That's the one thing that got me. The first sequence should have been her finding, going in the ship, finding a piece that she needed off a ship. The second sequence should have been her in some bar, meeting up with a guy with the piece that she took, not buying food or trading it for food, but actually trading it for information that pertained to her finding her parents. That should have been the first sequence. Now we got the sequence where we know where she comes from, and the sequence where she's actively looking to find her parents. Now we know she's got a motivation to do something. Why I'm getting all upset about that, I don't know. Kermit D. Log, how's it going, my friend? Hail at entertaining. How's it going, my friend? Poe and Rey looked interesting in 8. I said Rey and Poe sitting in a tree using the Force. At this point, guys, it's hard to say what anything was supposed to be. I think JJ was going to go way off in a different direction than what happened. I think that the problem was, and this is the problem with the type of just enjoying the stream. Thanks, man. I'm glad you can come by and enjoy my stream. I really appreciate it. And yes, we should do something together. I know I've got a lot of fires burning, so I gotta I got to sort of weed out some of the stuff I'm already working on before I can take on more stuff. But yeah, very soon though, we should definitely do something. But yeah, I think that, see, this is what I think happened. Disney is a very reactionary company. Not just reaction, they're not, but it's all. Game of Thrones is reaction. Everything is reactionary. And what's happening is, I think when the nostalgia of the movie kind of gave way to reason, when we started to look through the movie and say, and look at, and stop seeing it through rose-colored glasses. I'm talking about The Force Awakens. We started to poke holes in the movie, like, well, this is way too close to the original. Rey is way too much of a Mary Sue. All these things, and they're just rehashing. I remember the whole narrative of Force Awakens that people did complain about, that it was too similar to A New Hope, or it was just too similar, and everything was just remade and redone. So I think that they decided to go, well, I don't know, they don't like this, so now let's react in a different direction. So they got a director and then they took what was going well with Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think that is another benchmark for them. They looked at the Guardians of the Galaxy and they said, well, look at all the jokes. Everyone, these jokes are great. They love the jokes. Let's make it a little more Guardians of the Galaxy, yes, because this is what the kids and everyone are loving, that sort of humor. So now they said, let's make it a little, let's make some jokes. I like Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's try to make it different, because it was too much the same. So they went completely out. So instead of making it a little different, they decided to, completely turn it on its head, ridiculously on its head, and almost teasing you. Look, we know it could go the way of Empire Strikes Back, but we're inverting it all and changing it all. But yeah, and that's what I think the problem was. They were reacting to the crowd instead of making the story that they wanted to tell. And they were lying. He's lying. He says, I just told the story I wanted to tell. He probably was telling the story he wanted to tell, but he was definitely being told different things to do as well. Plus, you have the woke narrative. Got to have all the girls in there and guys getting slapped in the face, and we can't have any more heroes, and we have to have nihilism, and we have to have Rose Tico doing nothing, and a side thing with Rose Tico, which goes nowhere, and then she sexually assaults Finn. Donovan Page says, "Face off, not dance off." Are you talking about Face Off, like from the movie? Remember that? That was a great movie. Black Hat Cinephile, I thought Force Awakens meant Rey, Poe, Finn would get Force powers. That's not what I thought. I thought Force Awakens meant that the Force was not necessary, and it went dormant. Luke had it, and it went dormant because people just didn't need it anymore. I think the Force was sort of a dying religion, even at the time when Luke got it, and Luke being the only teacher of it, sort of, I thought it was going to be something that was going to fade off and die, and that the necessity for the Force to reawaken was going to be coming from an evil presence that reawakened it. That's what I thought, and that. But I mean, I guess the fact that they thought that the Force was going to awaken in everybody, or come, I don't know, come to pass. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say now what was going to be, or what could have been, or what we thought about, because in the end, we can't change what happened in The Last Jedi, and that's, well, unless they go back in time. But which is what the whole point of this was, that they're going back in time to save Star Wars from itself. She's going to go back in time, guys, to prevent George Lucas from signing that contract. That's the only way to save Star Wars now. Go back in time for that. But anyway, guys, I don't know. That's pretty much all I really have to say about all this at the moment. I don't know if you guys were on my last live stream, but my last live stream, I talked about the death of Hollywood, the death of creativity. And I started off with the death of creativity and the fact that 007 and all that stuff. But what I'm trying to do now going forward is, and I wanted to do this, and I'm going to continue to do this, and that's what I'm going to dedicate future live streams to. And that is, I want us together, all of us together, to create something. to be the death of creativity. And that's what I'm talking about. We need to create something for ourselves. If we sit here and we keep waiting for Hollywood or waiting for whatever to make what we want to make, what we want to see, we could be waiting a long time. This could be 10 years. We're sitting here yelling and screaming that Hollywood needs to change. And I'm not willing to wait 10 years to get some decent entertainment here. So what I've been proposing that we do, guys, is on my live streams, I want us to come up with movie ideas. I want us to actually come up with movie ideas, and we're going to select which movies are the best movies of the ideas we come up with, and let's flesh out these movies. Let's flesh them out. Let's create something new. Let's create the new Star Wars, something completely different. Let's create something together, because if we sit here and we just wait for them to do it, it's not going to happen. And I think that we got to be proactive. And since yelling and screaming, they just don't get it, guys. And that's, if I'm right in the fact that, well, me and Red Letter Media and other theories are right, that this is going back in time, they don't get it. They're never going to understand. They don't understand what the fans want, and they're not going to see. The thing is, they're not going to try to make something new. All they're going to do is try to pander to the audience, regardless of whether it's pandering to SJWs or pandering to old fans or new fans. You're never going to get something original and good as long as as long as they're in the mind frame that they're in. They're too afraid. They're too cowardly to come up with new enterprises. They're too afraid to come up with a brand new brand. If they do make a brand, it's by accident. They don't know how to brand anymore. I don't know what that. They used to be masters of branding. Now they don't know how to brand. Like they have to steal and use old brands that are established because it's easy. But I mean, and meanwhile, we're living in the age where it should be so simple to brand. I mean, you got everything at your disposal for free. Twitter, YouTube. I mean, Deadpool branded itself with just Ryan Reynolds running around in a suit, but yet Hollywood can't seem to figure that out. I don't know what the hell their problem is, but Netflix seems to know how to do it. HBO seems to do it, but the people in the movie industry, they're all they know how to do is take establishing brands and establishing logos and stuff and properties and rehash them because they're too afraid. They're too afraid to make something new. What if people don't like it? Then we'll lose all kinds of money. If it's good and if you learn how to do it properly, it will make money. You just have to, but they don't know. They're clueless and they don't understand. Anyway, so long story short is that I think wish I'd started that story when I started. Everyone always says long story short, and it always ends up being longer than they said. I think we could come together and make something interesting and fun. And I was even thinking that if we could come up with something that's really fun and really cool, maybe we could start flushing out the idea. Maybe someone writes it. Maybe we actually write a script for it or a treatment. And if we all could come together on something that's really fun and unique, maybe we do pitch it to Netflix. Maybe we do a GoFundMe page and someone, and we get it, at least maybe a trailer made, or we can get something done that we could pitch. Like an elevator pitch or something. Oh, geez, the power just went out. Did you see that? I think they're on to me, guys. Hollywood doesn't like my idea. This guy's, I don't know. He's trying to take over the world. I don't know. But I think that would be fun, guys. And so next time I'm going to do a live stream, which will probably be in a couple of days. I want to discuss this. I'll discuss this in a little more detail. I'll tell you some ideas that I have, and how we could actually brand something and make it actually pretty good. Because I'm doing a lot of research on this stuff, and I really want to discuss a lot of this. And together, I think we could come up with a night with ideas. And you never know, man. This is what we do. I think a lot of us here on YouTube are into movies because a part of us wants to see our imaginations come to life, right? That's let's be honest. That's what we go see movies. We go to see movies because we want to see our imagination come to life. That's why we go to theme parks like Disney World. We want to see that type of theme park, by the way. We want to see our dreams come true, but we want to see at least our imagination come and see it reimagined in real life. That's why I used to play with toys when I was a kid. You know, it's play with toys because it was like me acting as Luke Skywalker or me acting as G.I. Joe and me acting stories that I wanted to tell. And I think that that's why we came to this. I think that's why we care so much about this. And so maybe we should just take the next step and do it together and do something special. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it on that. And so I will be probably Thursday, guys. You will see me again. And that's what my live stream will be about. Will be about come up with ideas, write them down, and let's flush them out. We'll do a democracy on this. We'll democratically have everyone select which movies that we want to do, and then we will try and work out protagonists and themes and villains and all this kind of stuff. And I'll write it all down. And I'll even take your names, and everyone will get credit for it because I think this will be a joint venture. But anyway, that's all I got to say about this, guys. And so thank you guys for watching my live stream. I really appreciate it, guys. I'm gonna go and say, check out Kermit the Log. He's hilarious. Check out his and subscribe to his channel. He's funny. He does a lot. He's a little puppet, and he does this commentary. Does a lot of political commentary using Kermit the Frog. Wookiee Lives Matter, guys. Just go on everybody's channel and like everybody's stuff. Go on Twitter. We're all a community, so just like everybody. Donovan Page, even that Russian girl. What was her name? Lana Del Rey. Go check her out. Lana Del Rey. I'm gonna check her out and see if she's on Twitter. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching, though. And yeah, subscribe to my channel if you can, and leave a comment and all that stuff. Tori LG, go like her as well and subscribe to her channel, guys. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on Thursday, won't I? Well, if you guys are around. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and I'll see you then. See you Thursday, guys.